Good afternoon. We will go ahead and get started. I will call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, August 10th, 5 o'clock p.m., and we are calling this meeting to order. Just want to welcome all of our board colleagues and staff for being here this afternoon. Dr. Stubblefield, good afternoon. Great to see all of you, and for everyone joining us via Zoom or on YouTube, great to see you. Thanks for being with us and joining us in tonight's meeting. Before we get started, I will read our board norms and protocols as we do at every board meeting. As a board, we agree to respect the differences of opinions in making decisions for the district, to follow best practices in managing the superintendent and the management of the board itself, to stay on task when conducting business for the district, including while at board meetings, to never surprise the superintendent or each other when conducting official business of the district, to read these norms at the beginning of each board meeting and at board workshops as a reminder of how to conduct our meetings, and to continually self-check to determine if we are following our norms when conducting district business. Thank you. With that, Ms. Smith, would you do a roll call?
Yolanda Clark. Yolanda Clark.
Ms. Clark may not be on yet, Ms. Smith, so you can keep going. Thank you.
Maxine Drew.
Maxine Drew, present.
Janie Humphrey.
Janie present.
Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez present.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, present.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen present.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager present.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. I would actually make a motion to pull item C under board updates and table that for a future board meeting.
Second.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Smith, roll call.
Yolanda Clark.
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew.
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphrey.
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez.
Randy, yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager, yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. I would now entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark.
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew.
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphrey.
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez, yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager, yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. So first up on our agenda is our community comment. We have no community comments listed as of for today, but as a reminder, I will just remind our community, you are always welcome to submit community comment. Please contact Ms. Smith, and you must submit your comments by noon the day before, so the Monday before the board meeting. Please submit your comments to our board clerk, Ms. Smith, and her information is on the district website. And because of COVID precautions, we are still limiting community to come into the building, but we are offering the opportunity for anyone who signs up for community comment to either present via Zoom, or that person can sign in and come in to the building for that comment at that time. Dr. Nguyen.
And thank you, Mr. Lopez. And I guess there may be a question for you, Mr. Goheen. With the state of emergency over and other school districts are allowing public in with social distancing and masks. So I guess the question is, what's the timetable? At what point do we reconsider, and who makes that decision?
Yeah, so a couple different issues are raised by that. One is this is a public open meeting, so we still have to make the meeting itself available to the public to observe, be present at either virtually or in person. And as the emergency state changes, that our obligations under that do change as well, and so we do need to be mindful of that to make sure that the public's available. As for the public comment piece, that part is more at the discretion of the board, because the board meeting is a meeting of the board, whereas public comments are at the discretion of the board. They're not required to be at a meeting. They're by allowance by board policy. So that could vary a little bit depending upon the nature of the COVID restrictions that the board keeps in place. That would violate the Open Meetings Act per se. It might violate your policy if you guys don't continue to extend that in terms of allowing that public comment. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to us because we're here, but when we get phone calls from the public and saying area school districts are open, social distancing for the public, not the comment part,
Right.
with masks, what are you doing? And I said I would ask, but secondly, as well, we have a public hearing on the budget coming up.
Yep.
And so if you don't allow people to talk live on Zoom,
Yep.
then is there a conflict?
Yeah, particularly on so the budget meeting is a little bit different because that's a public hearing. And so you do have to make sure at that hearing that members of the public are allowed to come and speak, whether that is in present or, you know, if we wanted to set up an alternative location where they could go and be brought in by video or whatever. I mean, that might be something we need to move to one of the auditoriums where we have larger space. Those are all considerations that we could take into account. But that one's a very legitimate concern is anything that is a public hearing, you certainly have to put it in a place or make some allowance for the public to be able to participate in that.
So that's the only reason, Dr. Stubblefield, bringing it up now, so we don't have to wait, not wait, so we are prepared to have action and take action, not be caught with our hand in the cookie jar.
So
Clarification, when did we get an email or something on that earlier asking that question? Because this seems as a surprise to me. I've not heard this question or concern. Was there an email or something sent to Dr. Stubblefield or our president prior to this meeting asking that question?
So, Dr. Yeager, I know when I got back today, there was a parent or a community member, a parent member that had spoken with Leslie, and Leslie asked me just a few hours ago, and I said today we hadn't made a decision. But I don't know if any individuals contacted board members or the president directly, but I did get the question. And I guess my question to Greg is that something that either administration or board or collectively, somebody just needs to make the decision?
Yeah, somebody needs to make a decision, and then when the clerk sends the notice out for the meeting, if you're doing a different location, then that needs to be clear in the location. If you're going to allow for public comment, so for example, one thing you could do is you could allow, you've got larger space at Schlegel's Auditorium, which is right across the parking lot. You could move the meeting there, or you could allow members of the public to come there and give comment that could be virtually fed into the meeting here. Those are options.
Or downstairs, when the
Downstairs would work
downstairs
as
is
well.
better.
That's another option. You've got locations you can do that, but what matters is making sure the notice that goes out from the clerk identifies that clearly to the members of the public.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. So, and I know those budget hearings will be coming up in September, so we will definitely want to make sure that we have that information in place. So, Dr. Stubblefield, can you and I visit on that and bring back some options and suggestions, recommendations to the full board on what that could look like moving forward? Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have Dr. Stubblefield with her communications.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a few items to share. First of all, I want to thank Edwin and his team for putting together a convocation this morning. It was the first time I think we did a hybrid, and for the most part, I think it went off well. So I appreciate the flexibility, specifically with me, because my schedule changed and they made a last-minute adjustment to accommodate me being in person. So I appreciate that. I also want to thank all the staff, board members, and community members who tuned in and listened this morning and showed support to our staff. First day of classes will begin tomorrow, August 11th. We have the first day for our kindergartners through 5th graders, 6th graders, and 9th grade. Thursday is the first day for remaining students, and then on August 18th, we have the first day of preschool for all-day preschool, and on August 19th is the first day of pre-K for any part-time pre-K. I also want to take time to thank the Di Pasquale Moore Law Firm Foundation with the assistance of the Greater Kansas City Football Coaches Association recently awarded several $5,000 grants to local area high school football programs throughout the Kansas City metro area. Each grant was customized for the receiving school, providing for new equipment, uniforms, and other resources. Kansas City, Kansas Public School was selected as one of the several school districts in the area to receive the football equipment for all of our high schools. We are grateful for the law firm and the foundation for this general donation and for providing our coaches and student athletes with proper equipment to compete. Kids Zone applications are now open. We're excited for the before and after school care providers for students and families. Our goal is to provide child care services, academic enrichment, tutoring, and youth development to all families in USD 500. This is the time to start filling out your paperwork to be a part of the program. You can do this by going to your child's school or visiting the site that your child will attend. The application must be returned to the Kids Zone site. Transportation forms must go to your child's school. There's no approval process. You can find this information on our website as well. Or if you have questions, please contact Michelle Wortham, our Kids Zone coordinator. Online meal application surveys. We really need students and parents to complete the household online meal application survey in order to get funding for the district. You can access this survey in Spanish or English on our district website. And we've gotten a few questions about uniforms. We have been getting a lot of questions from parents regarding school uniforms. Please visit the district's website to access the list of schools that are requiring uniforms and the schools that are not requiring this information. We also will ask that our schools communicate this information out to our parents directly so they are aware if they are required to have uniforms. And we wish everyone a great start to the new school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stubblefield. Just a few things for me to share. I do just want to say thank you to Thrive Change Academy. Last week, I was invited to a training for students, online training for students on leadership, personal and professional development. It's a great discussion about our district, about education, leadership, and I just want to give those students a shout out. Many of them are KCK students, current students, and so it was great to be a part of that discussion with them. And if they're watching, thank you for a great conversation that we had. So just wanted to give them a quick shout out. I do want to also say thank you to all of our staff who helped with enrollment over the last couple of weeks. I know that was a lot of work, both at the school buildings and here at central office. It was great to see families getting enrolled, so thank you. I know that was a lot of time and effort, and so thank you to all of you who helped with that. Want to just say a welcome to all of our new staff that are starting with us. We're glad to have you as part of our family and excited to start the new year. And welcome back to all of our returning employees and families. So thank you. Looking forward to a great school year. And I do just want to quickly share also one opportunity. PACES and Warriors for Wyandotte, two local nonprofit organizations, are hosting a back-to-school bash where they'll be giving away school supplies and other resources this weekend. I believe our communications team shared something on our social media about that, and so just wanted to make sure families are aware of that. That's this Saturday from 11 to 2 at 401 North 78th Street in Kansas City, Kansas. So I want to just say thank you to our partner organizations who continue to support our families and our students. So again, thank you communications team, Mr. Birch, your entire team for all your work you've done, all of our staff as we prepare to open schools tomorrow. I know it's been a journey, but thank you so much for all the work that you've done to make tomorrow a successful day, and best of luck. Congratulations to all of our staff and students, and we're looking forward to a great school year as we move forward. And thank you. Ms. Drew.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank the board members for selecting me to represent us with KASB, and I did have a meeting with them on August the 4th where we sat down and looked at the protocol in which we're going to be following. I will be going to Topeka, Kansas on August 28th from 9 o'clock until 1 where we will have a meeting, and wanted to let everyone know, again, to remind them of the Kansas tour on September the 7th here at our central office at 11:30 a.m. And then also there is a KASB convention this year in Overland Park during the week of November the 5th through the 7th. And if anyone, board members would be interested in going, you can see our board clerk. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Drew. Dr. Nguyen?
Yes, thank you to Dr. Stubblefield for inviting us to the conference. Real world learning? Okay. Quite innovative. There's just tons of exciting learning opportunities for students in this area. We don't have to go across the country to find it, as well as our own. And then likewise, we have a board, KSB board meeting on that 28th of August. And remind you of the, for the conference this year, they had that little side trip on Friday. You can throw an axe or hatchet, whichever one you want to call it, go bowling or play golf.
Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. And then, I'm sorry, and then lastly, I do just want to give a shout out to all of our elected officials publicly. I just want to say thank you for attending convocation today, to all of our board colleagues who were there. And then I know Senator Pat Petty was there, Representative Pam Curtis, Mayor David Alvey, were all in attendance. And so just want to say, Commissioner Bynum was also present with us as well. So just want to thank our public officials. Dr. Nguyen, I know you and your colleagues are always advocating for our students and our community and for our district. And so it's through the support of our elected officials that we're able to continue to do some great things for our students in our district. So just wanted to thank those public officials. Also Mark Dupree, the district attorney who was there, who's been a great partner for the district as well. So thank you all for joining us this morning.
The Wyco Fair, that was Saturday.
Yes, and I didn't want to take that away. I know Ms. Crystal Watson's going to give an update on the fair from this past weekend, but shout out to all the staff who helped in the Wyco Back to School Fair this past weekend. I won't steal your thunder, Crystal. I know you're going to mention that here in a minute. But that's a great transition, Ms. Drew. First up on our board updates is our update from the Foundation of Excellence. So I'd invite Ms. Crystal Watson to please come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to the Board of Education. Good evening, everyone, and to all the staff in the house and everyone virtual. Tonight, I wanted to share with you to give you a quick update on what has been happening this year, what the impact that the foundation has had in 2021. So the We Care, We Act, that's the new program that we initiated during COVID to help families who need support with utilities, rent, and so forth. And to date, thus far, we've allocated $21,367.23 to families within USD 500. We supported the Trauma Sensitive and Resilient Schools Initiative, and we sponsored the keynote speaker and provided promotional bags for them. Transportation, our bus drivers got recognition. So kudos to Martin Miguel, the Director of Transportation. We gave out 10 $50 gift cards to them for all their hard work over the past year. Wyandotte High School, we received a new scholarship, the Zach Family Scholarship. And there were 5 Wyandotte High School students who awarded $1,200 each for college. So a big welcome and warm thank you to the Zach family. We also supported the Welcome Administrators Luncheon for the new school year, so welcome back all our administrators. We also provided through the Classified Incentive Training Program. They had their training program this past week. We, in partnership, worked with Sherry Piedmont, so big kudos to Sherry. They were able, we didn't do it, we were just to pass through the wonderful value add the foundation brings, but over $3,000 worth of incentives were provided to HR to support the classified training. So just want to give a big shout out to HR. And then we sponsored the convocation. Didn't we have a wonderful keynote speaker today? The speaker was Morris Morrison, and so the foundation had the pleasure of sponsoring that for our district. And then, of course, the Back to School Fair. So in the past, we've just always been a part of the committee, but this year, there was a change in sponsorship for the fiscal agent, and so as of this year, the KCK School Foundation for Excellence will be the fiscal agent for the Back to School Fair Committee. And so this year we donated $5,000, and look at all these great pictures. So if you weren't there, you missed out. We had a long line of cars.
Yes.
At first, there were about 50 cars, and then it kind of trickled off. And then after that, it was like, okay, this is the story. So they published the wrong address location because we had to change it from the Kmart building to central office. And so we sent the press release, but we sent a new one, but 41 didn't get it in time. And so they got it, I don't think they paid attention to it because everybody other channels, published it correctly. But they published it at Kmart, and I'll tell you what, I was just so like, oh my God, how could this happen? Well, I said, okay, everybody got on their Facebook, and then I called Mr. Birch. Y'all know Mr. Edwin Birch, he the man. So he went on Right Arrow, and it was around 10:30. He sent out a Right Arrow message. It was like, has everybody seen the movie Field of Dreams?
Yes.
And like they said, if you build it, they will come. All of a sudden, it was like a flood of cars just showed up out of nowhere. I mean, within an hour, we had a long line from 59 all the way back to Haskell,
Right,
if any of you are familiar with the area. And so these pictures are just a reflection of the hard work. In that first top photo, that is Reverend Tony Carter right there. And this is Pastor Ricky Turner. So 2 pastors were out there doing registration. This lovely couple has been supporting the back to school fair. They volunteer every year for like the past 5 or 6 years. They're just a beautiful couple. I had to take a picture of them. Here's that long line of cars. And then I have to tell you, so the rest of these pictures are pretty much staff because, man, KCKPS is the bomb. First of all, Chief Horn, I love you, man. Him and his team showed up. We didn't have to do anything. The police did all of the traffic flow. All we had to worry about was this little section in here. They had the cone set up for us, Dr. Stubblefield. I mean, I love you, Chief Horn. They were wonderful. He had a great floor plan for us. It worked out great. Facilities, Doug and his team, Jeremy, those guys, see those pictures? See, I had to take pictures of them. They were phenomenal. Showed up on time, did things for us, set up. I just greatly appreciate all the support from Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. So that is my update. I appreciate all the hard work. I just want to give you one more bit of information, and that is our upcoming events. The We Believe campaign. It will go on the entire month of September. So look forward to communications about it. It is for our community. So we're just asking all community to just give online and just give whatever they can. And then our KCKPS district address is going to be October the 6th. And this is where we get to showcase the district and our new superintendent and her new associate superintendent, Dr. Jude Campbell. So they'll be on display at the district address. All right, okay. And then there is the Reasons to Believe event on November 11th. And that's where we recognize 12 alumni from the district. So those are upcoming events, and I'll be back next month to give you an update on the KCK Engage, which is the ER, the Educational Virtual Reality. Thank you, Board. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Any questions for Ms. Watson? Thank you. So next on our agenda, we have an update about the Naviance Transio.
Yes, I'm recommending that the Kansas City Board of Education accepts this memorandum as an information item regarding the contract with Navia and KCKPS as submitted by Dr. Biblo Irving, Instructional Improvement Officer, as recommended by myself, Dr. Anders Stubblefield, Superintendent of Schools. And Board, I am trying something new with this one because it's not necessarily a presentation is needed, but I'm asking the Board to accept it as a written report. And Dr. Irvin is here to answer any questions if you have. And the background for this particular informational item is that we currently need to integrate the two systems with our SIS system. And because we don't have programmers currently hired in IT, in our IT department, we need to enter in this contract in order to be prepared for when family advocacy time starts here really soon. So Dr. Biblo Irving is here. If there's questions, she can definitely come forward and ask, but there will not be an actual presentation.
Thank you.
She's-
Ms. Page?
Does the contract provide training? Because sometimes we've taken on things and not really provided adequate training to make sure that everybody knows how to use the system and give them a chance to work through it and work out all the kinks. So I didn't see it, or maybe I missed it.
Yes, ma'am. This is for the technical support so that we can run Naviance and Transio. We are short 2 programmers in our IT department, and Innova is the company that will help run the technical support for those programs.
Dr. Nguyen?
And so is this a new contract?
This will be a new contract for 12 months. Yes, ma'am.
And did you include the contract in the?
Yes,
paperwork?
ma'am, I
Okay.
did.
I just looking over things.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Other questions for Dr. Bilbo Irvin? Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Bilbo Irvin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up on our agenda, we have an update on our school reentry. Mr. Stephen Linkus.
And I'm recommending the Kansas City Board of Education accept as an information item a presentation discussing updates in regard to electives, specials, and athletics for the 21-22 school year as submitted by Stephen Linkus, Chief of Staff, as recommended by myself, Dr. Anna Stubblefield, Superintendent of School.
Good afternoon, Board President Lopez, Vice President Clark, I heard you somewhere, fellow members of the board, Dr. Stubblefield. Thank you for the opportunity to come and just give an update on where we are. Had an opportunity in July to kind of give you more of the bones. This is more just an update on some areas that you guys had asked about. So just getting back into it, I just want to remind everybody about the robust team that we have. We have a team that's representative of various factions from the organization. It gives us various viewpoints so that when we're bringing things forward, we do have a diverse array of opinions to make sure that we're all engaged. Here's some updates for you. So since our last meeting, we did send out the one-pager that was sent to you for the July 20th meeting. That went out on July 23rd through Bright Arrow. Thank you to Mr. Birch and the communications team for that help. The reentry team has met twice. We have another upcoming meeting on the 16th. The principal one-pager that I'm calling the school one-pager that became more of a 3-pager was also given to staff. You received that last week through an email, and they were able to look at that and go over that with staff to kind of see what was expected on campuses. To this point, I know one of the questions that came up last time was in regard to Greenbush. So this is going to look a little different from what you received because the PowerPoint I did was last Tuesday. So as we know, in the COVID world, between last Tuesday and today, may as well be 4 to 5 years. So with updated information, we're now up to 213 applications for Greenbush, 88 of those at the elementary level, 48 middle, and 77 high school. Desk shields will be used at the elementary schools because they were placed on the desk, and I don't want to say they were drilled on, but they were put on there, if that makes sense. I'm not the tradesman, so I don't want to use any terms that aren't technical. At the high schools and the middle schools, they are available to use. So they have not been, they remained at the building, they were not picked up, so the campuses do have access to those. One other thing that I know would possibly come up was the updated Wyandotte County mandate as far as masks. The way the provision or the mandate was written, it does give jurisdiction to local schools. It did actually give 2 municipalities jurisdiction as well. But what was recommended last time, we do not have to look at unless it's under the board's purview and they want to. But everything that we brought forward is still kosher with the county and we can move forward with it. Electives and specials are always something that comes up. We know our students love their activities, programs, and all those kind of things. So when we look at bands, they will use the special masks. They're going to use the bell covers. I did get the name this time. And those will be provided for the wind players. Your band and choir, one of the things you saw in the document that I did send last week to the board is there has to be a 15-minute interval where the room can be cleared so that there's opportunity for the air to be cleansed. So with the hydration systems that it goes through with our HVAC and all that fun stuff, that 15-minute time period does give time for the air to clear out. So the secondary schools have worked on an extra place they can move if needed. The elementary schools, a lot of those will start potentially, as you see towards the bottom, potentially using some outside space. Some have indoor spaces they will use, but the IIOs have been working with the schools and the principals, Jody Lynn, and the teachers to ensure that all students are receiving our elective classes. So the biggest thing we want you to know is we are going to offer the courses. There are going to be some mitigations, as you see with this, but it's very important that our students have what every other student has across the state of Kansas. Athletic competitions, the only reason I brought this back is because there was some confusion, so we just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. The mask and face coverings will be worn at all times by students, personnel, visitors, unless they're directly participating. So our athletes and coaches engaged, they will not have the masks. Everyone else inside will. Concessions, we're going to follow food service guidelines. There's a limited menu. We're going to look at prepackaged foods and bottled drinks only. We will look at some type of plexiglass. So it may be the portable shields or something like that, just to ensure that there's not too much exchange of oxygen. Indoor, it's a little more important than outdoor. Outdoor, we get a little more air cleansing just naturally. Outdoor events, we're not going to require spectators to wear a mask. That does fall in line with the mandate from Wyandotte County. And our indoor activities, we will require spectators to wear a mask, so that hasn't changed. So those are all the same as what I reported before. But we did get some questions last time, and we just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page, that our community is clear on that, and, you know, when they come out to look at athletic competitions as well as other events, that they're going to have a great time and they know what's expected before they come in. So that's what I'm bringing forth tonight. If there's any questions from the board, I'm here to answer those, and I think I got friends who might have walked in just in case there's some areas I need some assistance with.
Thank you, Mr. Lenkus. Questions for Mr. Lenkus? Ms. Humphries?
Do we have, you know, as you say, information changes every day, every hour sometimes on what we should be doing if you're exposed and whether you have to quarantine or not. Do we have like a little flow chart or a simple type of informational sheet saying, if you've been vaccinated and you've been exposed, these are your steps? Something that's easy for our parents and staff to look at, do a quick glance at, and not have to go through paragraphs
The
and
parent handbook?
paragraphs of information.
Yeah, Ms. Morris is going to respond to that.
Thank you for the question. So yes, we do have something. The Wyandotte County Health Department put something out for us last year, and then they've recently looked at it again. So we do have that, and I can make that available, and we can make sure that we share that with families.
So that would be, all of our staff have access to that, and then,
It's actually the same document we used all last school year. So yes, they would have had access to that and surely seen it by now.
and then, like, when parents come into events and things, they have access to that information too.
I can make sure that they do.
I mean, you don't have to have a stack of 2,000, but it would be nice if we had something in the office or maybe on the wall in the gym that parents could reference quickly and know what they should be doing.
The document that I'm thinking of, it's a 3-page visual, and I know that the principals have had access to that, so they would be able to print that and make that available in print at the school buildings, for sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Nguyen?
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. And Mr. Linkus, I've asked this before. Is the Greenbush Student Handbook on our webpage?
I do believe a link was sent, so I will
Okay, good.
double check that. I haven't been on the website today, but I can double check that.
Please, because I'm getting
Yes, ma'am.
calls from parents who are enroll their students in Greenbush. And then we've had this conversation before, and I guess I should ask you, Dr. Stubblefield. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think we ever got a kind of analysis, evaluation of our last reentry plan when we came back from remote learning, or even that March to May, what worked and what didn't work. Is it possible that within 30 days or so, we know what worked and what didn't work?
Yeah, so I will own that when I started in July, the cabinet was talking about sending out a survey and in order to get some information about how it went last year. And I asked them to push pause because we needed to get information about what school would look like, but we can, once school starts, talk about, get some information on our procedures, but also get some information from the parent perspective around that, but without confusing them around remote learning being an option. So I just didn't want to confuse the parents, so I asked the team to pause until we got back in school. But we definitely can do that here in the next 30 days.
Thank you, because we had not had a follow-up to that discussion.
Ms. Page?
Yeah, I had a question for the nurse.
Oh,
Do
she
we
said-
have nurses at every school? And you mentioned at the last meeting that I thought you said we were -2, or we're looking for 2. Did we fill those 2 positions?
So we do have some school buildings where we don't have a permanent contracted nurse who's signed on to be with us for the entire year, but we have several of those staffing agencies that are working with us, and so we will have a nurse in every building every day. It just may not be the same nurse for the entire school year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Linkus. Thank you, Dr. Stubblefield.
Thank you.
And I'll just share saying, Ms. Morris reminded me, I don't know that we ever thanked the communications team, Ms. Sharita Hutton, Ms. Elizabeth Morris, and Student Services Department, and everybody that was involved in the vaccination clinics that the school district held, especially this last one on July 29th, I believe it was, at J.C. Harmon High School, where we had, I believe, 265 students and parents who were actually vaccinated, and many, many more who actually came through for different resources, school supplies, and other information. It's a great event. I was able to be there. I know several board members came through as well. So just kudos to our staff who pulled off. That was the third vaccine clinic that they had pulled together, and I know I've been in conversations with the health department, and they really appreciate the school district's effort in hosting these COVID vaccine events, because it really helped them push the word out and get people vaccinated. So just thank you to everybody. I know it was a lot of work, so just thank you for your efforts. Ms. Page?
I'm glad you brought that up. Will we do that again? In lieu of what's going on, I don't know why we won't do it again. You know, they keep saying people in Wyandotte County aren't doing it. We got 53 cases, 4 people died of the Delta variant already. We're only at 35%, so I don't understand why we can't push the health department at us, because we need it, because pretty soon it's going to start to hit. Now, we can pretend that it's not, but it is, just from what we're seeing. So I was just wondering, are we going to continue to do that?
And I pled my case with Sharita that night. I said, Sharita, you're in charge of hosting 3 more. So I was kidding, of course. But I think the team is definitely looking at options. I'll let Ms. Morris share. But I know they were excited about the turnout and what we were able to accomplish that night.
Yes, that's a great question, Ms. Page. The health department has been so thrilled with the turnout that we've had. Our 3 events have been the highest mass vaccination events, I believe, in the county. So they are very excited to continue to partner with us. And we did meet with them. We toured a couple more school sites to try to target some different areas. And so we are in the planning stages for another event. It does take a few weeks, to get things set up and then get our partners on board and have all the giveaways arranged, but we are definitely working on another one, so stay tuned.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much, staff. Next on our agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Smith, roll call, please.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphries,
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy Lopez, yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen,
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager, yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have our first executive session. Dr. Stubblefield, if you'd like to excuse staff, that would be appropriate now.
So any staff that's not involved in the executive session for negotiations, you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, staff. Would entertain a motion to recess to executive session for teacher negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA, going in at 5:45 for,
Try 20 minutes.
for 20 minutes, coming out at 6:05. I believe that math is right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphries,
Jenny Humphries, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy Lopez, yes?
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen,
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, motion to come back into open session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark, Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphrey,
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes?
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Yeager.
Great, thank you. Motion to return to executive session at 6:08 for 20 minutes.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark, Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphrey,
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy Lopez, yes?
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Yeager.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to come back into open session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Janie Humphries,
Janie, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy Lopez, yes?
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Dr. Nguyen,
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Dr. Yeager.
Dr. Yeager, yes.
All right, thank you. We're back in open session. And that is all for tonight. So thank you again, everybody, and great to see you all. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great rest of your evening.